Yeah. Okay.
Can we
Lightning.
talk?
So
The Lightning Network sucks, and anybody who's ever used it knows
No,
this. Unless they,
let's not use word like sucks. Let's say
uh,
suboptimal.
no, no,
Well,
I'm okay.
it's
I've got a
I'm
suboptimal,
picture
and
here.
the user experience is,
Let's look at the numbers. Let's look at
I
the
would
numbers 1
say,
second, and then
not
we'll get a.
fun, not convenient, and very difficult to use. Transactions fail far too
Let,
frequently. It's overcomplicated. The invoicing system generates way more characters than you ever could fit on a single screen and doesn't make any sense. And
well,
then the fact that you have to make a on-chain transaction in order to load your wallet and unload your wallet means that you're not really getting any sort of value. When you're holding Lightning Bitcoin, you're not actually self-custodying your Bitcoin. You're actually holding it somewhere else where somebody can rug you or
wow, wow,
yeah,
wow, wow,
yeah.
wow. Okay,
Roy,
I don't
complete.
know
I'm
where
gonna
you
give
want to
you.
start with the Lightning
Roy, I'm
Network
gonna
I
give you
don't
an
know.
opportunity.
that I have
Yeah,
about it.
Roy, I'm gonna give you an opportunity to respond, but first I want to just look at numbers, not facts and emotion.
yeah.
And the numbers, the numbers show like steady growth in the Lightning Network. Obviously, around 2021, 22, the last bull market, people were excited about the Lightning Network, but then it sort of tapered off at 5,000
So I believe it was
BTC
2018 when the
capacity.
Lightning Trust chain was invented by Hodl Knot. I was actually one of the torch bearers, if you remember that
Well,
experiment. And I
wait,
just
Yeah.
wait, Mati,
remember,
Mati.
yeah,
Let's again. Let's take a step back. Let's talk
yeah,
about
yeah.
data for a second. The graph that Dudu showed, and then what you see, Dudu, is the Lightning Network capacity,
Can
public.
you show that chart? I'm sorry. Can you show the real chart there? What you're doing is you've pinned two different axes there, but what I'd like to see is actually like that blue line as a real number compared on the same axis as the price of Bitcoin. So your orange line and your blue line on the same axis. See, what you've done is this is a trick. Yes, you've separated the axes, and yes, of course, the Lightning Network has grown over time. But if you put it as this on the same axis, what you're going to see is the blue line is flat,
Yeah, that's what I
completely
was
flat.
talking. I'm not looking at the orange line. I'm looking specifically, the blue line is the BTC capacity. The orange line is, the Lightning USD capacity is going up because the price of Bitcoin is going up. So that's for sure. But now I want to give Roy, here we go, Roy, a chance to respond to the
Respond.
the very
Respond on what? First,
The user
I
experience.
don't.
Go ahead, respond
I
on
don't.
that.
Well, even the user experience, you used Lightning Network back in 2019 and you had a bad experience, and now you're telling me
I've
like the
used it.
Lightning
I've
Network.
tried it again since, and it has not had gotten any better.
When? How? Okay, that's nonsense. And it's not me saying it's nonsense. It's like the number of applications, the number of downloads, the number of transactions that are being processed in the Lightning Network, the Lightning Network throughput. One thing, again, going back to do this chart, I think it's crap as well. Not because Dudu is trying to display and show evidence of a Lightning success, because this metric doesn't mean anything. Lightning Network, unlike other layer twos, it can't be measured by the capacity. The capacity is only one indication of the Lightning success. By the way, not most of the capacity, but a lot of the capacity isn't even visible in the public metrics, meaning when you open a public channel, you can measure the public capacity. You can add the capacity of the channel, of a Lightning channel, to the public capacity. But there are tens and hundreds of thousands of private channels that are not being captured in these metrics. That's one. Secondly, what's more important than the capacity is the throughput, is how many payments and what is the volume, the BTC volume that is being processed in the Lightning Network. That's the real metric. And I can tell you that I'm working closely with a lot of
throughput is a measurement of success now.
throughput
It is
isn't a
for a
measurement
means
of
of
success.
No,
exchange.
no. So in that
It
case,
is for a
Digify and
means of
XRP
exchange.
have the lightning network pinned, completely
Sorry,
pinned.
sorry.
Digibyte and XRP both have much higher throughput than the lightning network. So I mean,
Well,
but it
I
was,
don't know, Matty. You don't like the network.
so I
That's
just want to
fine.
know
But
but if that's a
but
measurement of success, then I mean,
of course, it's a measurement of success. Matty, let me speak. Okay, okay. You don't like the Lightning Network.
I'm letting you.
Great.
I haven't interrupted you once the whole conversation. Just
Yeah,
explain.
let me finish. Of course, throughput is a measurement of success because what's the purpose of the network?
To means of exchange. I agree with Roy over here. Throughput is a
So
measurement of
there's
success
a
when you're
node,
measuring
and
means of exchange.
there's a node. There's a node in the network, and there are a lot of nodes like that. That from a public capacity, and that's when you interrupt it. That's what I wanted to say. You take a look at the node. You take a look at its capacity. It holds 40, 50 BTC. But the amount of volume of throughput that this node is processing is trillions of dollars. So is that what's the right measurement? How do you measure the success of this lightning node? By which metrics?
Um, the fact that nobody's ever heard of it. I mean, for one,
Well,
other
who's
than
no
like
one heard of
me and
what?
Bitcoin. Well, I think that more people have heard of Bitcoin Cash or know what Bitcoin Cash is than people who know what the Lightning Network is. Honestly, I
First,
mean, other than people who are like literally Bitcoin maxis like yourself, you're maybe you live
I'm
in
not a
like.
Bitcoin maxi. Why are you saying that I'm a Bitcoin maxi?
Oh, I was told that before we got on the show. Is that not correct?
Okay, so I don't know what the
Do you
term
not
Bitcoin maxi
identify as
means.
Bitcoin maximalist?
I don't know what that means, to be honest.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, and my purpose, by the way, our purpose, the people that are working in building, in improving the Lightning Network, and I agree with you, by the way, like from a development standpoint, the Bitcoin network always, the Lightning Network always sucks. By the way, the internet also sucks. Like from a technical standpoint, it's very hard to use underlying infrastructure. Lightning Network will succeed once people won't know about the Lightning Network, and once Lightning Network will be an implementation detail of Bitcoin, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to obfuscate the complexities of Lightning Network, and we're trying to make Lightning Network seamless for you to use. So it's all good. Like I'm okay when you're saying to me like Lightning Network sucks, because it means you had the direct access to Lightning Network. It means that you had to you remember the internet days of using a BBS. Like that wasn't a fun experience, right?
It was at the time.
Experience.
I mean, it was revolutionary.
So Lightning Network, for people who are using the Lightning Network, I think that's kind of the feeling right now. It's very clunky. It sometimes works. It sometimes doesn't. By the way, it's gotten vastly improved over the past couple of years, but not when you tried the Lightning Torch in 2019. It really sucked. Like you couldn't make a single Lightning payment, and you had to deal with channel management, and you had to deal with all the complexities of the underlying implementation. As like fast forward 5 years, the experience is much better. We're onboarding normies to the Lightning Network. There's a lot of transaction in the Lightning Network. Yes, it still sucks. The internet like starting to do a mass expansion in the early 90s, and sometimes it still sucks. I'm still getting phone calls from my mother asking me why this site doesn't work, or why I can do this XYZ operation in the internet. So yes, it's
Roy,
from a technical standpoint. Yeah.
You converted me. I acknowledge that I learned something new today. You spoke about the right metrics to measure Lightning Network success. That capacity. It's very hard to find real-time real-time transaction volume data about
Yeah.
the Lightning Network. But I do see this. This is a very reputable source, River Financial. They have a study that shows a 5x growth over over 2 years in transaction volume in USD. So that was You know, from
I think
2021 to 2023.
I think it's a lot more than 5x, if I remember correctly. And this is a study that we've participated in as well. Matty, again, not trying to convert you to Lightning, like you're already, for me,
Hey,
you're already on.
you get me all wrong. I'm happy that your success makes me happy. So it's not. I have no vested interest for Lightning to fail. I'm just pointing out some of the as you called it, inconsistencies or stuff that needs to be improved if you're
Uh,
looking to go viral here.
I agree. I agree. There's a maturation process that we're going through. Like I'm a builder again. Like I'm not phased by. I host
I
panels in
respect
Bitcoin
that, sir.
conferences. I host panels in Bitcoin conferences, and the title is "Why Lightning Sucks." Like that's our goal. Our goal is to talk about like the problems in Lightning, to encourage, bring builders in order to fix these problems. So I understand where you're coming from, but I think we've made a lot of progress.
Well, if the Lightning Network is stable, I can tell you that as we build out the Cora app, because our vision with the Cora app is to have a easy to use multi-chain wallet so that the user never really understands unless he wants to or needs to what's happening on the back end. So holding Solana on Solana and Ethereum on Ethereum, exchanging between the two, not even realizing that they're two different blockchains. And should that be the case, then perhaps it makes sense at some point as Bitcoin is being used on the app to implement Lightning on the back end in order to save our users some transaction fees and time for transactions.
And that's part of the maturation process that we're going through now. What Breeze is doing. Let's talk about Breeze for a second. Not because I want to plug Breeze, but because we're positioned in like what I'm trying to promote is not building Lightning apps, but bringing Lightning to existing apps. That's basically what we're trying to do at Breeze, and we're providing an SDK to developers that allow them to integrate Lightning
What do you
payments
think
into
of
existing.
the USD Jeremy Allaire's announcement? I think it was yesterday. USDC going to be used for payments on Apple Pay.
Great. That's why not? Like I think the value proposition of Bitcoin is kind of different, but anything that gives the people access to digital money, like I'm all for it. Bitcoin.
So you're
From a
not a
value
maxi. Somebody lied to me before the show. You're not a maxi because
again, I don't know what I think when people are again, there's a lot of narratives. The maxi narrative,
what's your view on ordinals?
There we go. I was about to get that. That's the next topic. Ordinals.
I wrote an article when ordinals and runes and all this stuff came out, and I wrote in this article that was published in Bitcoin Magazine that it's good for Bitcoin. Everything is good for Bitcoin, and specifically ordinals because it creates more transactions. People are paying in Bitcoin. And it gives them exposure to Bitcoin. Would I hold an ordinal? No, of course. It's a pump and dump game that I'm not taking part of. But is it bad for Bitcoin? No, it's not bad for Bitcoin.
I say some of it's maybe a pump and dump, but there's certainly, not all collector's items are necessarily pump and dump materials. It's if you're saying that baseball
it's more
pump and dump, as you would say.
No, ordinals are stupid. Again, I think it's stupid to collect special sats, and I think and I think it's also and the creator of BRC20 and runes, like that's what they say. So who am I to to kind of contradict them. But it's all.
But it doesn't matter what you think, because the value is still the same. The value still is the value, and there's still somebody who's willing to buy it, whether or not you think it's stupid.
That's true for everything in the world. That's correct. Yeah,
it's an absolute statement. But
that's an absolute statement.
Just to clear the air here, as far as Bitcoin maximalism is concerned, the way that I define it is people who have this kind of brain defect where they say that everybody should be able to use Bitcoin, or everybody should be able to have equal access to freedom of money, and people should be able to do whatever they want with their money, except for creating another coin, which that should be illegal, and people should be thrown in jail for doing that. And
I think that's your definition of Bitcoin maximalism. I never heard that definition.
Because there are people out there who hold this view, and get this. When I went to the Bitcoin conference in 2021, the same one where Nayib Bukele announced, El Salvador's big announcement, I tweeted out, "Hey, this is the biggest crypto conference in the world." And somebody retweeted me, said, "This is not a crypto conference, it's a Bitcoin conference." I'm like,
okay,
Bitcoin is a crypto.
Let's talk about that.
So it's a crypto conference. And,
yes, but Matti,
let me finish. There were literal death threats underneath that. For just calling Bitcoin a cryptocurrency. So like,
okay.
I get a bit touched when people tell me what to do with my money or how to spend it.
Definitely.
And
but let's talk about that for a second. I'm sorry that you received death threats. Like, I don't know. That's completely stupid. People are idiots in general. So
it's not the first time. I've been attacked, by the way, by the Link Army, by the XRP Army, by the Hexicans, by this is just off the top of my head. I tend to piss people off, but I would say that the Bitcoin maximalists were by far the most violent in their rhetoric.
Okay, but okay. So two things here. One, Bitcoin Twitter isn't a good representation of the Bitcoin community. That we need to understand that. And everything that is going on in Bitcoin Twitter, it's like, and the discourse that is going on in the Bitcoin core community, among core developers, among Lightning developers, is completely different. I can tell you about eCash, and I can tell you about stuff that are going on inside Bitcoin that are not Bitcoin at all. It's not related even to Bitcoin. So you need to understand that. Secondly, again, not in the defense of getting death threats, and people are stupid and people are idiots. But you need to understand that the defense mechanism that was put into place after the block size wars in 2017 that made people say, we want to differentiate from crypto, and why this defense mechanism was put in place. And basically is to say Bitcoin, unlike most of the crypto, not all of the crypto, but unlike most of the crypto, isn't a leveraged asset. So we want to protect Bitcoin in that regard from a terminology standpoint. We want to kind of to say this is Bitcoin. It's something else than DeFi, TradFi, and all the other stuff that are going on in the ecosystem. And I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, perfectly fair.
I want to show you guys
a bit
the
disappointing.
runes.
I thought that Twitter was the end all and be all of crypto, and now there's no crypto. So, man, you opened my eyes, dude.
I want to show you guys the runes data, and this kind of, we're talking about it earlier, but this is, you mentioned the pump and dump. 62% of Bitcoin transactions around the halving were runes transaction, and that's dropped to 5%.
As a Bitcoin miner, thank you for that, by the way, with some nice tips when the halving happened.
So you obviously want that to go back as a Bitcoin miner. You want
For 2 weeks, 2 weeks following the halving, we didn't even feel the halving effect.
But I think we need to appoint Roy to some sort of.
By the way,
guardian.
It was good for Lightning as well. Like for me, not just for miner, for Lightning network operators, all this shenanigans were amazing. Like, how many users flocked into the Lightning network as a result of ordinals which is
I can
great.
imagine.
Quite,
I just wait when transaction fees are high. I just wait a day or two and they go back down. So but I get it if
but
people are.
there was
Roy,
a
what were they
period of
doing with
time.
I'm interested in the spillover. Like, it doesn't. There's no logic for people who want to buy like shit coins on Bitcoin to now spill over into the Lightning Network. So, can you make me explain a little bit
Oh,
more?
so
Because
once here's the thing, right? Now Bitcoin is measured in dollars, so you could say that Bitcoin is living on a dollar world. But in the future, the dollars are going to be printed on Bitcoin as tokenized Sats, right? So when that happens, we're going to need a lot more throughput and a lot more mechanisms to side chains and whatnot, because the running the entire dollar system on Bitcoin is going to be a challenge.
Yeah. So Dudu, when all the other stuff happened, the Bitcoin fees just spiked, and people were looking for alternative solutions to move their Bitcoin with lower fees, and that's why people found the Lightning Network. And Matty, just from a Lightning Network standpoint, I think what you said is very true. And the function of Lightning Network isn't necessarily to onboard all the people in the world directly to the Lightning Network, but Lightning Network is becoming a common language between subnetwork, sidechains, other systems in order to interrupt Bitcoin
so
as a better asset.
Litecoin. I mean, but here's the thing: if I wanted to move,
Not,
crypto from one exchange to another, I don't think
yeah.
I'd be using Lightning. I'd probably be using like Litecoin or even like XRP or even Tron or something like that, because it's just a lot more straightforward and simple to use.
So exchanges now, now that Coinbase, Kraken, Binance all onboarded to the Lightning Network, you don't know how they're doing their internal settlements, and some of the internal settlement is moving to Lightning because it's much cheaper and quicker than the other networks that
if I
you've mentioned.
process a withdrawal from Binance and I use my Coinbase address, they don't really have a way to put it on Lightning, do they?
They do. They do.
Maybe you can explain that to me, because that's interesting, because I'm using a Bitcoin native address.
So you need in Coinbase. What do you want to do? What's the use case?
So I'm saying I process a withdrawal from Binance and I put my Coinbase deposit address as the two.
You can put a Coinbase Lightning invoice there instead.
No, I can as a user, but you're saying that they're using them as internal settlements. So that's not what I'm talking about.
You don't know
moving money.
What I said. You don't.
Exchange. Yeah.
I said that you don't know how internal settlement between Binance and Coinbase work right now, some of them are using. I know of Bitcoin exchanges that are using Lightning as their settlement mechanism. Not the only one, but as a settlement mechanism between exchanges, because they can do that in real time and with very low fees.
Okay, that makes sense, I suppose, especially if they're doing hundreds of transactions. Obviously, the size of the transactions wouldn't matter. I think if you're talking about any large amount of money, the Lightning Network might not be able to handle that. But also,
again, a misconception about the Lightning Network. It's very hard to process large transactions in the Lightning Network if there's no relation between the payer and the paid, between the sender and the receiver. But if there is a relationship, and there's no one Lightning Network, there are many internal closed off Lightning networks inside the Lightning Network, meaning you can have an internal settlement mechanism between number of entities without any liquidity constraints, because it's not a public network. Because it's a private network, the network is completely different in terms of capacity and in terms of management.
Right. So we could get Coinbase, like, sending $10 million to Kraken, and then going ahead and rugging them and saying, okay, well, that wasn't really money, that was just fake Lightning money that we sent to you, right? That could happen.
cute, but any Lightning transaction is a Bitcoin transaction. That's again a misconception regarding Lightning. What's the magic of Lightning? How Lightning works? When I send you a Lightning transaction, I'm actually making a Bitcoin transaction to you. The magic behind the Lightning Network is that this transaction isn't published to the chain, but in any moment you can publish the transaction to the chain, and you can convert the Lightning transaction into an on-chain transaction. That's the magic of Lightning Network. So no, it's not fake money, or it's money backed by the main chain.
We've got a few minutes, and I want to really touch on one last point. It's been an excellent conversation. Thank you, guys. Matti, I only used the word maxi to get you all fired up. I know that gets you going.
Well, it worked.
But Roy needs to be appointed to some sort of honorary council of Bitcoin, because this is the attitude we need. It's an attitude of purity, like, don't mess around with shitcoins, like a sober outlook, but also
I didn't say that. Don't put money. I didn't say that. If you want to mess with shitcoins, mess with shitcoin. Why not? Like, if you want to try and leverage.
You said you don't mess with shitcoin.
Personally, I don't do that. But that's me.
As someone who's not trying to coerce. As you've got that. You live your life pure, but you don't try and impose your beliefs on others.
Exactly.
I think that's what's missing in the Bitcoin ecosystem.
Behavior that pisses me off is when people try to tell me
I think that's when people say the word maxis, they think about people that are pushy. They're out there. They're trying to co-opt their opinion onto others. They're trying to coerce people.
Even through violence in some cases, or violent rhetoric.
But my last question to you, Roy, is around all the. I've got some data I'm going to share it with the world soon. I'd scraped over 6,000 VC deals in Web3. By the way, Breez, I don't think was listed as a Bitcoin company in this database that I have. So it's 6,000 VC deals, and the amount of deals that are tagged as the Bitcoin ecosystem has gone vertical in 2023, 2024. So we're talking about L2s, and especially L2s, but DeFi and all that. So what role does Lightning Network have to play in a world of 7,463 Bitcoin layer 2s? You've got Stacks, BitLayer, Bob, a lot of other players in the field.
Great question. So I think Lightning Network, what differentiates Lightning Network from these other L2s is the fact that Lightning Network doesn't have a global state. From a technical standpoint, it's not another network, meaning Lightning Network is a real extension of the Bitcoin mainnet, making it very easy for subnetworks, any L2s out there, to create a Lightning interface to their chain, and we're already seeing L2s with a Lightning interface. So I think Lightning, because it's achieved some kind of market penetration, and it is already supported by all the large exchanges, I think there's a big chance that Lightning will become the Bitcoin language that helps interop between all these layer 2s. So let's say you want to interact between I don't know, Babylon and Spider Chain. You'll use the Lightning Network in order to exchange Bitcoin between them. We're already seeing that with projects like, I don't know if you're familiar with Fedi, but the FediMint project is speaking Lightning. All the Cashew projects are speaking Lightning. There's a project called Arc, which is built on top of a Lightning Network, which is speaking Lightning. There's a project called BitVM that is already speaking Lightning. So Lightning is becoming the kind of the common language between all these layer 2s.
Okay, so Lightning is sort of like it's got direct relation to the L1 bridge, so to speak, private bridge between different layer 2s that does not have its own global state, but rather is a way to momentarily move Bitcoin between different layer 2s, different ecosystem.
Exactly. And instead of pulling people into the network, Lightning will allow them to interrupt between different networks.
I'm very much more bullish on the prospect of Lightning. I'm very happy that you came on. I mean, Lightning is something that is always like, you always talk to people like they're like, oh, but you can't buy coffee with Bitcoin, all the haters, and you're like, oh no, but Lightning Network, and then you're like, I shouldn't really say that because Lightning sucks. But I see now that Lightning does not suck. It's got a bright and beautiful future. And
Well. You gotta try it before you say that. First of all,
I've tried it. My
okay.
personal experience with Lightning was a little frustrating because I didn't really figure out so easily how to get my Bitcoin off Lightning onto mainnet, and I felt very stupid. So I didn't bring that up in the first hour of the show because I don't like feeling stupid. But maybe it's easier to these days. Maybe Roy can help me.
Yeah,
Uh,
maybe.
I'll do my best. Lightning sometimes still stuck, but we're working to improve it, and someone needs to work in order to improve that. I don't think it's replaceable by any by other mechanisms. So I'm still very very bullish on Lightning, and
So
and
if
we're
you guys
getting
are both
into
bullish on Lightning, are you buying Bitcoin Lightning to get the price appreciation from being correct on that outlook?
I don't know. I just try to use Bitcoin as much as I
Okay,
can.
no. It's like sorry, that's like asking if you're going to buy stable coins because you think they're going to be big. Anyways, thank you very much, Roy, for enlightening us today. I appreciate that. It is 1 a.m. here in California.
Enlightening. I like the
Enlightening us.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure, and have a
Thank you,
wonderful day ahead.
Matthew.
Thank you,
You too.
gentlemen.
Dudu.
Have a wonderful day.
Thank you,
Thank you to
guys.
all our listeners. Come back next week. We have Zengo on the show and some more special guests. We'll have a good one. Cheers.
Yeah, we doubled this time. Double the human
Double the
watchers
speakers.
than panelists. That's
It's
great.
only going up. It's only going up. Cheers.
All right, that's
Good
good
night.
ratio. Bye bye.
Bye, guys.